Israel's recent decision to board an aid flotilla to prevent it from reaching blockaded Gaza sparked international outrage. During the operation, troops opened fire, killing 9 people, and the country's military has been quick to broadcast its version of events. But as RT's Paulus Leo reports, the state's strong influence on national media has meant the public may not be seeing the full story.
These pictures were not broadcast on Israeli TV. Citizens protesting against their government's blockade on Gaza. Their anger and frustration largely ignored by the country's media. One TV editor has given up trying to get news outlets to cover this other side of the story.
Israeli media does not give the Israeli public a true picture of what is happening. All Israeli military correspondents worked in the army, and there is a deep connection between them because they rely on the army for contacts and access to information. The IDF controlled the way the flotilla videos were represented in the media. They chose to release them one by one so they could make their message clearer. They also seized all the footage from the flotilla so they could control it. Definitely, there are videos the army is not releasing.
But the images it did release, the world knows well. An Israeli naval boat by the protesters' ship, with passengers apparently beating up Israeli troops. In the raid's aftermath, the images were seen by millions when they became the most watched videos on YouTube. Elisa Landis heads up the Israeli Defense Force's new media department. She is in charge of the IDF's cyber presence. But she's come in for heavy criticism, like the posting of this image of equipment on board the Turkish ship, the Mavi Marmara.
A blogger called up the information for the picture, and you can see it says 1998. We looked into it. It turns out that one of the photographers who was there, the camera had a technical problem, and the internal date wasn't set properly. But you can see in our videos the same equipment being taken right next to the Mavi Marmara. So the question as to whether or not these pictures are actually authentic, I think the answer is pretty clear.
For Israelis, it is always clear their army can do no wrong. It is the heart and soul of this nation, the most trusted of all institutions, and no one here would dare to question it.
But Professor Tamar Liebes says there's no way of properly understanding what happened on board the ship by simply looking at the released videos.
Pre-perception very much dictates how you see what you see, and I must say it's very difficult to decipher, to understand the kind of mass of this sort of black and white, very unclear pictures on this boat. It's a really bad trap. It's a terrible trap. This whole business of media.
When it seized the flotilla, the army confiscated all recording devices from activists and journalists on board. It has released only its own edited footage of parts of the raid. Protest organizers say it also doctored the audio on that footage.
Israel is in the business of manipulating public opinion. It's been in that business, for 40 or 50 years. They're very smart about how to create a media narrative, how to present themselves as the victims in almost every instance, and how to, portray anyone else as the aggressor, or even perhaps anti-Semitic.
Now, these are the demonstrations the Israeli media chose to show. Citizens out on the streets in solidarity with their army. Even when this particular media war Israel is waging is over, Tel Aviv will continue to use both television and the internet to get its message across in this long-running dispute. Paulus Leo, RT, Tel Aviv.